What's up? So I wanted to talk to you today about just reflecting on my year 2022. 2022 was an amazing year because like I started the year with resolutions, like many of us do, right? One of them was to get fitter, which I did. I started here, I ended here. Another one was to grow in empathy and understanding, and a lot of people told me I have. And the last thing was to speak at a bunch of events, and I think I've done more than my fair share of the DevRel thing. So with that, it was a good year, but I've been thinking about three things that I regret, maybe three mistakes I've made in 2022, and how I want to remedy them in 2023. Starting with number one, having a realistic sense of self. By realistic, I mean there tends to be this tendency to like self-deprecate. Like somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, that was an amazing talk at a conference," and my response is, "Oh, it wasn't that good." When in reality, it was actually pretty good. But some part of me, and maybe you can relate, right? We have this inner critic that wants to minimize certain amazing things that we do. That isn't realistic, and it doesn't really help because that then can take over, and we can get overwhelmed and anxious. And what I want to pursue in 2023 is being realistic, owning the things that I do extremely well, and also owning the areas where I need to grow. Just having a realistic, not a hyper inflated, not a hyper defeating, but a realistic sense of self. I feel like we're on this spectrum, right, between deprecation and appreciation. And so finding that middle is something I want to do in 2023. Number two, I want to be more careful and respectful in the way I talk about issues in the tech industry. In 2022, I've done a lot of complaining about the inequality in the industry, specifically how you know equality of privilege is not evenly distributed, how women, minorities, and people of color have a harder time, oftentimes have to work like twice as hard to get to where the majority get, right? And so I feel like I've done a lot of almost shaming and calling out of white men specifically, and I don't like that because that just makes me another person who discriminates. I think what I want to do is be more vocal and intentional about resolving the issue of inequality as opposed to like blaming and shaming a group that maybe perpetuates it or maybe doesn't. um, and so yeah, bringing focus to the issue and then working towards having it resolved above and beyond a people group, I think, is something I want to work on. And while I'm at it, like really loving on all people groups, because every one of us is insecure in some way and wants that, needs that. Almost, we're human beings, right? And we need to feel a sense of belonging, and so kind of working towards that. Number three is cultivating this belief that we are living on the best timeline. I said this in a previous video. I'll put a link in the corner up there. Um, so, like a real practical example is I travel. I go to a lot of conferences, and at these events, you have to be on all the time. It's hyper social, and sometimes you're drained, right? And then you're faced with the choice: do I stay inside in the hotel room and recover, or do I, muster up some strength, some energy, and go do the thing? And usually in this scenario, there's some, at least for me, leave a comment if you can relate. There's some level of FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. If I don't go, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to miss out on an opportunity to connect with someone. I'm going to miss out on a great talk where I learned something. I'm going to miss out. When in reality, we win by taking rest, right? You don't miss out, you actually gain. You gain self-care, you gain mental health, you gain like positive reinforcement. So um the truth is, both ways, like staying indoors or going to the event, we win. We are living on the best timeline. I do believe somewhere, not strongly enough, that all the things that happen for our good, for my good. So cultivating this kind of almost abundance mindset of, listen, if I stay in, I win. If I go, I win. We win both ways. There is no losing, versus the scarcity mindset of, oh my gosh, I need to go, I need to, because honestly, if I'm not well rested, I'm not even good to anyone. So those are the three things I want to cultivate in 2023. And let's see, maybe we'll do a year in review at the end, and see how that went. But for now, that's my three desires for 2023 resolutions. What are yours? Leave a comment or at me on Twitter. But for now, that's been it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.